Hey everyone, I hope that you're doing well. Hey everyone, thank you for coming in to my live, my day 2. Let's see. Hey everyone, I hope that everyone is doing well. Welcome to my live. I'm going to wait for a few people to come in. I'm going to type a little bit. Hey, thank you. Thank you for joining me on my live. Let me see. And just type in some stuff. Thank you. Come on in. Please let me know where you're from. I would love to know where you're from. Okay, I think I got that. Hey everyone, I hope that you guys are doing well. Welcome to day 2 of my Facebook. Look where I'm at. Welcome to day 2 of my Instagram live. Thank you for joining me. I am Sunny Tap. Thank you very much. I am Sunny Tap. Oh, you're from the Bay Area. I am located in North Carolina, and today was a beautiful day. Yesterday was a beautiful day. I think we've been in like mid-80s, but thank you so much. I'm going to wave at you. Thank you for joining me. And so I am Dr. Angela L. Harris. I'm also Angela. I'm also 𝐏𝐸𝐸, and I'm doing 5 days of IG Live, and tonight is day 2, so I appreciate you guys for joining me. If you're coming on in, or if you watch this later, I would love to know where you're from. Because this is my 2nd day of IG Live, it really is an opportunity for me to interact with everyone. I really want my followers to know me, and I like to know you guys. Hey, pretty entrepreneur, thank you for joining me. I appreciate you being here. And so I really wanted to challenge myself. I don't do lives often, and hence why we are doing the 5-day IG Live, and tonight is day 2. I do hope that you stick around and join me tomorrow, Thursday, and I have some exciting news for you on Friday. Living Golden 08, H-Town, baby. All right, I feel you. Thank you. I'm in North Carolina. I'm hoping that the weather is really good, and I know pretty entrepreneurs in NYC. Living Golden 08, H-Town. How's the weather there? Living Golden 08. Hey, Soror. Hey, I love when my Sorors join me. Thank you guys for your support. So if you don't know, now you know. I am Dr. Angela L. Harris, also known as Angela, also known as 𝐏𝐸𝐸, and you are following me on my IG Live at No Bibs, Burps, Bottles. And No Bibs, Burps, Bottles, also B3 to cut it short because it can be a tongue twister, is a motivational and supportive community for African American women, my sisters that look like me, look like you. We are here to celebrate being child-free, 30 plus, wonderfully made, and living your absolute best child-free life. And we do that just by highlighting and celebrating you through your narratives, through your storytelling, and I do that by way of my podcast, my blog, and my upcoming book. So thank you guys for joining me tonight. So tonight on Tuesday, day 2, IG Live, I'm going to be sharing a little bit about just how I've been feeling with the current events in the world. Lot of things going on, and so I'm going to share with you just my thoughts, my opinions. We're not here to kind of do no political heavy stuff. I'm going to save that for other people. But I really just wanted to share just my thoughts about how I've been coping. And then I'm going to share with you 5 tips. I have my notes here. My 5 tips to get through a difficult time. And this is a difficult time that we're in, but I'm going to share with you 5 tips to get through a difficult time. You can probably apply these at any point in your life during a difficult time, but more specifically, I'm going to come from this perspective of living alone and being child-free. Hey, thank you for joining me. Angie Michelle, hey, thank you for joining me. Let's see. I'm not going to even try to mess up that name. Lab Q Whoa. Thank you for joining me. So I'm going to give you 5 tips, and I hope that you can take something away from those. And I want to shout out my child-free women, my child-free men. If you're just following me here on IG at No Bibs, Burps, Bottles, I appreciate you. So let's just jump right into it. So we are in a pandemic. And I don't know about you guys, but I have been, in the beginning was pretty scary. I know people are ready to get out in this world. We were on phase 1, quarantine, sheltering in place. I get it. But it was scary. I don't know about you guys, but it was pretty scary for me. And I don't know if anyone else has been in a pandemic. I don't think so. I think most of us are maybe the same age around here. But I stopped going to work in the office on March, I believe 18th or 19th, when the world like literally shifted. Now, let me tell you about this. March was also my birthday month. So I turned 49 on March 16th. And then we started working remotely on, I believe, March 18th or 19th. And so the world shifted. Living Golden 08 said, me too. So the world shifted. Now, let me tell you this. Not only was I'm working from home, but before we transitioned, coming out of my job, I fell down some stairs. I know. 4 eyes. I missed a step. And so not only on March 16th, which is my 49th birthday, I fall, I sprain my ankle, and then we have a pandemic where we are ordered to stay home. So I was limping a little bit, that was short-lived, but really had to pack up my... Pretty Girl Entrepreneur says, oh no, I know. It was embarrassing. Thankfully, a lot of the students had already gone home. I work at a college. That would not have been good. I don't need to be on anybody's TikTok falling down some stairs or anybody's crazy live or anything. So, but I'm all healed. It was only for a short time. But then I had to pack up my office and work from home. How many people worked from home before? Show of hands. This was your girl's first time working from home. And so my sister in New York, she works from home, and I know she's always trying to get out and about on the weekends because she says she sees nobody. And so I wasn't quite sure how I was going to adjust. I am Sunny Tat says, at least you're okay. Yes, thank you. I'm so glad it could have, like head first, bruised knees. It was crazy. But thankfully I'm okay. But I started working from home March 19th, March 18th, packed up my little computer, got all my little files, and I set up office in the kitchen. And then I said, wow, this is real. Like, I'm not going to the office, as well as all my colleagues, as well as the whole damn school has shut down. We sent students home because we are in a pandemic. And so I know it was a little scary for me, and I'm still actually adjusting. It's been since March, but it's a different kind of feel when you're working from home. Shout out to all the people who work from home, and that's like you've been doing that before the pandemic. But living alone when you are working from home and all you have are the 4 walls in front of you, behind you, and on the side of you, not that I was going stir crazy, but I did have to adjust. And so I'm still working from home. I actually am going to be working remotely for the rest of fall semester. So that's going to be into December. And thankfully, I'm in a place where my VP and the college that I work at supportive of not only the students, but of faculty and staff. Angie Mitchell, it's very different working from home. It has its pros and cons. Yes, it does. It does. And I know, it's different. Like, there's parts of me that like, oh, I can get up and I have on my sweatpants and put on a halfway decent shirt. But then there's something about being in the office, and I actually do miss the pitter patter of the students in the hallway. But then I recognize like I need to be safe. Not only am I doing this for me, but I'm doing it for other people. But because I'm taking it back to living alone and being child free, it was just me and Lenny, my fur baby, who's over here farting over here in the corner, looking as cute as a button. And so he's looking at me like, yo, when you going back to work? And I'm looking at him like, you're all I got. And so with that, living alone, it got to me. And so recently I went to go stay with my parents, because I'm like, if I'm going to be working from my kitchen with my little virtual background on Zoom, I can actually do this with my family so that I'm not actually feeling alone. So, but let me get into kind of more of just like what's been going on with current events. Working at home during the pandemic alone is rough. Yeah, and I'm naturally, thank you, Angie Michelle 08. I'm naturally an introvert, although people like literally laugh and don't believe me when I tell them that. But my personality profile, I am an INFJ. So I'm an introvert. It's in my DNA. I actually enjoy being at home. Literally before COVID, I could come home on a Friday from work and not see another human until Monday morning. But the difference between then and a pandemic is I had a choice. Hey, the bitchy bookkeeper. Thank you for joining me, Lenora. I'm so excited to have you. Thank you. The difference between then and now is I had a choice. I could be like, I don't feel like being bothered. I'm going to sit with, binge out on special victim units all weekend long, eat some food, play with Lenny, and go to work on Monday. I had a choice. And if I wanted to go to happy hour with my friends, I could. But the pandemic, when you live alone and you're child free, that choice is actually taken away from you. So when I was getting a little itch, like when I felt like being a little bit of an extrovert, just a little bit, I was just like, the bars are closed. And all my friends are quarantined up and I have nowhere else to go. Pretty Girl Entrepreneur said, yes, having a choice is way different. Yes. And so I think that's the biggest thing, being alone, living alone, being unmarried, being unpartnered. I'm single, I'm child free. Again, I can navigate those spaces very well. But when I needed some love and some hugs and some music and some drinks and let's turn up with my girlfriends and my guy friends, the whole world was like halted. So it was hard transitioning from like, yep, I'm chilling all weekend to like, I want to go out and not have that choice. And then what happens? We have these national tragedies. And so you have the pandemic, and then you couple that with the murders of George Floyd and Ahmaud Arbery and Miss Breonna Taylor, and you put that on top of a pandemic, and you put that on top of living alone and being child free, you can feel pretty isolated. And so my thoughts and feelings on that is that it was hard. It was hard for me, y'all. And I would imagine it was hard for many of you, whether you're partnered, child free, have 6 kids, getting married, whatever. These tragedies changed the world. But from a perspective of where I was already at, like being by myself, and then these tragedies, I was just like, yo, this is a lot. Like you really trying to do this world? We have a pandemic, and then you're going to have these murders that we hear about and see. So I was feeling pretty, I'm just going to name it. I was angry. I was frustrated. I've been irritable. And if you hear me, I say I've been, but I actually have still been very irritable. Hey, Ivy Ryder, for joining me. Thank you. Thank you for joining me. Thank you. And so you couple all those feelings. I've been all over the place, quite honestly. And so being able to just say, this sucks, I'm angry, I'm pissed off, and I don't have nobody to talk to. I can't have this and Lenny, we've been together for almost 3 years now. And so he can sense when I'm off a little bit. And when he does, thankfully, and the reason why I got a pet, he's been able to sense my feelings, and been able to just come and lean on me, lick me, rub his head against me. But these tragedies have been really, really difficult to get through. And I don't see it being any different next week or next month. But I'm hoping I have 5 tips to help you get through any difficult time. I'm hoping they help you as they have helped me. So we have the pandemic. We have the murders of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery. And then we have the protesting and the looting. And I like to say and reframe that, people standing up for what's right. People standing up for what's right. And so because I'm kind of a germaphobe, and because, I wanted to try to keep myself safe, I was not on the front lines, and I was not going to have anybody make me feel guilty for not being on the front lines. Although I feel like I was there in spirit. There are other ways in which I've told people you can do your civic duty and your civic engagement. And so I I did other things, but I wanted to be out there. I am Sunny Tat. I think I might quarantine with a friend next go around. Girl, if you do that, give me some tips. We all, quarantine bays are out there. But then we had the protesting and the Angie Michelle says, great. Maybe that's a whole nother live, like what makes a good quarantine bae, but I digress. But we had the protesting and looting and seeing that on TV night after night after night. And again, not having anyone to have those exchange. I did a lot of text messaging. I did a lot of phone calls. But again, living alone and having all of this. This is a nice little like ball of hot mess. Pandemic, murders, protesting and looting. It was just hard kind of navigating all of that alone, quite honestly. I think I did a good job. I had to kind of go into my tool bag of coping skills, as many of you have. Angie Michelle, I was on the front lines, but there are many ways to support. Don't get in these Facebook, IG battles of you wasn't with a sign and you didn't go to jail, and you have to engage in the ways that feel comfortable for you. There are a lot of people who probably wanted to be out there, but they have families or they have young kids, and just because I am child free and I don't have a family and I don't have children, does that automatically mean that I should be out there on the front line? Pretty entrepreneur. Yes, I had to take breaks in between. Yes. And so the protesting and looting was hard to see. And again, during this period of time, I was at my parents, and my dad and my mom, we were able to have meaningful conversations. But I then took all of that and I said, what is happening? What's beautiful that's happening in the midst of this? And I was so happy to see my black girl magic, my black boy joy coming together. All people coming together to say, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. Like, how many times do we have to say that? And so it was good for me to see the brown faces and the Asian faces and the white faces and the old faces and the young faces and the little kids. It was good to see that. But it was all still a lot to take in. And I'm a news buff. And so my dad, myself, and my sister, we watched the 11 o'clock news. Here's a little tip about Angela. I love the 11 o'clock news. I know some people, the news doesn't do it for them, but that was kind of what we did in my household. So no matter where I'm at, I watch the 11 o'clock news. And although news, not the best thing to watch because there's not a lot of good, seeing that night after night, it was definitely seeping into my spirit. Angie Michelle 08 says, and that is perfectly okay. I'll be ready. Yes, I'm glad you guys are supporting each other, because we all have probably done something very different to get through the pandemic, to get through the protests, to get through fill in the blank. And some of you, many of my followers are child free, are living alone, single, married. Again, these are hopefully experiences. If you are human and you have a pulse and a heartbeat and you wasn't affected or touched by what's been happening in the world, I don't know what to say. But again, I'm speaking from being child free, living alone, unpartnered, single, and what that's been like for me during this time. So, pandemic. The murders, not the deaths, the murders of George Floyd, Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor, speak their names. Then we had the protesting and the looting. But again, I try to see the good in everything. And I really think all of this propelled people to move forward and to do something. And again, I've been doing things in my own way in order to support the cause. So those are my thoughts and my feelings. It's been difficult. I'm glad I made the decision to go visit my family. Diane Drakes, D Drakes, thank you for joining me. I appreciate you. I had to really say, first I was just like, if I'm going to be working from home in my kitchen, I'm going to my parents. And that first week I was with my parents, I put on my mask, I got my G-mom there. And so I was scared. I had already been in my house, again, no children, by myself, in my beige kitchen, with bright lights, with my virtual background on Zoom every day for 2.5 months. Does anybody know what that feels like? I mean, like, and I wasn't really wanting to get out in the streets because, like I said, I'm trying to not get sick and I don't want to get other people sick. But to just be 2 months quarantine. And so I took the chance, I prayed about it, and I went to go visit my parents and my G-mom. And thankfully I was there in their space for 3 months. There's something about just being around other people when you need to be around other people. Ivy Writer says, I also write and journal about it. A video, I can't see it quickly. Thank you, Ivy Writer. Angie Michelle 08. Yes, Ivy Writer, we all have a role to play, and every role is different. Yes, and just don't let anybody make you feel guilty. There is a lot of people out here making other people feel guilty about their role in what they should be doing to have their voices heard. You don't know if I wrote 20 letters to the senator and to the president and to all my local officials, and that's how I inspire change. You don't know if I made the 30 signs that people are hanging up. And because I'm child free, I mean, sometimes when you have a family and when you have children, sometimes you don't have a lot of time to do all those other things. But don't get it twisted. Just because you are child free does not mean that you have all this time in the world. You know, I'm still working. I still have a pet. A lot of other things to take in consideration. So I'm going to give you guys my 5. That's 10. I don't have 10 tips for you. I'm going to give you 5 tips to get through any difficult situation. Again, I'm coming from the perspective of living alone, being child-free, although I do believe that these tips can be helpful. Again, I appreciate all of you guys for being on my live day 2 of 5 days IG Live. So my 5 tips. Number 1, I was sitting on this couch and I just said, acknowledge your feelings. I probably talked to the wall. I have some beautiful plants and I probably talked to my plants, and Lenny was probably like, I don't understand this gibberish you're talking about. But I literally had to acknowledge my feelings because I don't have anyone in my space. I just had to say, I'm pissed off. And quite frankly, I've been pretty irritable and for the last couple of weeks, to the point where I'm just like blocking people. Like, I just don't feel like talking, don't feel like being bothered. And that has translated to personal life as well as work life. Ivy Writer, right? I've heard about that. That's usually somebody who just learned their history. I've been out in these streets, my college days. Ivy Writer says she's good. You like, listen, I've paved the way. Let these young people do it. I got it. So just tip number 1, acknowledge your feelings, no matter what they are. If you're feeling, sad, if you're feeling irritable, if you're feeling all over the place, tip number 1, don't hold that inside. Hey, the self-care counselor, thank you for joining me. Thank you. Acknowledge your feelings. 2, again, talk about it. So I don't, and I'm going to keep saying this because, again, my platform, coming from a single woman, being child free, I didn't have a husband or a girlfriend or, a teenager or a young adult to talk to. All I had was me. And so I actually had to be intentional on talking about it with other people. Some of you on this live, Ivy Writer is one of my closest friends, and being able to text her and talk about, and we're both child free. So she's in her house single. I'm over here in North Carolina single. And we, would text about how angry or how did you really see that on Facebook? So being able to talk about it and get your feelings out there is important. That's tip number 2. If you acknowledge your feelings, talk about it, it can make a difference. Again, being child free, living alone, get support. And so, yes, talking about it, whether that's through text, but sometimes you have to acknowledge if you're in a really negative space, which are a lot of people are, they're saying there's research that's coming out now that mental health is on the rise in regards to the pandemic. What's happening in the world today with the murders, racial climate, people are affected. And so sometimes you have to get support. So for me, I will be transparent. I looked into my EAP program. For those who don't know, in the States, if you are needing additional support as a therapist, most employers or companies will have a way to get connected with a therapist. For those who don't know, I'm a mental health advocate. You can follow my mental health page at 𝐏𝐸𝐸, but I am a proponent and mental health advocate for the mind, body, and spirit. When I'm irritable on most days, when I'm like, I don't feel like I'm feeling misunderstood by my colleagues. I appreciate my white friends reaching out to me, but I'm like, listen, y'all doing the most. When I'm just stuck, I was just like, I need support. And so I reached out to my employer. Thank you guys. I just followed you, the self-care counselor. Great. Living Golden says yes. Thank you. And so get support. I'm not saying everybody needs therapy. I'm saying if you are feeling stuck and you feel like, the world is just a evil, cold place, and you're remaining there, maybe therapy is good. Maybe leaning in on your best friend. I had to lean in more to my parents. Me and my dad was having some really good conversations, and he was giving me his perspective growing up in his era, being 70 plus, and he's seeing things differently. And so being able to have my dad hear me, I hear my dad, and we're both sitting there from different perspectives talking about race relations in the world. So get support, your pastor, a trusted friend, therapy. All right. So tip number 1, acknowledge feelings. Tip number 2, talk about it. Tip number 3, get support. Living alone and being child free. You have to virtually engage. This is what I did, which preserved a little bit of my sanity. Being able to go with the flow. So as I'm talking to you and sharing with you live, Team Dharma, my therapist, is the best. I'm always happy to hear that people have good therapists. Thank you. You have to virtually engage. I was intentional on really wanting to challenge myself for 5 days of IG Live because I wanted to interact with my followers. I wanted you guys to get a chance to know me, and I know you. There's so many things that are happening virtually. I was recently in a little club soiree type thing with a DJ, and they were playing games. I've also been able to connect with my sorority sisters and play some games. Ivy Writer had something. Shout out to her. She had a virtual poetry event. If you live alone, and again, remember, I'm an introvert. I bring the extrovert out when I need to. It's a skill that I've learned, but my DNA, I literally can go without people for a while. Not that I don't like people, but I can go without people. INFJ. And so I said, you know what? Because the choice is taken from me, and because I want to be safe and I want other people to be safe, I'm going to try out some of these virtually clubs. D Nice did a whole thing. I know many of you, if you went into Club D Nice, give me some hearts because I know that was a big thing. But I guess the 4th tip is to virtually engage, especially if you're child free and living alone. But again, these can apply to if you have a family of 10 or whatever your situation. More so if you're feeling lonely, if you're feeling down, and if you're feeling disconnected. All right. So that's tip number 4. And then my last tip for getting through a difficult time now. This is for the pandemic. This is for race relations that's happening now. But these tips can apply to anything that's happening difficult in your life. Take care of you. I can tell you how I take care of me. I can't tell you, Ivy Writer, how to take care of you. I can't tell you, Pretty Entrepreneur, how to take care of you. I can't tell you, Angie Michelle 08, how to take care of you. What I can say is that we all have a toolbox of what we need to do. So during this pandemic, doing these murders, doing the protesting, living alone, being child free, we have to be able to just take care of you. And really, that's my 5th tip. To be able to identify what's going to work for you. What's working for me is being able to engage. I'm also on a 2-week detox. When I was at my parents', mom and dad, I'm not going to turn down my mom's mac and cheese. I don't know about y'all. But so I did not eat the best. So I had one day out of my first week. I'm doing a 2-week detox. That I had to come back from my parents' house, and I have to change it up. And so that's what I'm doing to take care of me holistically, mind, body, and spirit. The 2-week detox is a way that I'm taking care of me. Childfree chick is laughing. All you guys are laughing. Okay. The self-care counselor truth. We need to know ourselves and tend to our soul in the way that feels right. The self-care counselor, you're speaking my language. If your mind and your body and your spirit, if they're not all together, it's hard to get through a pandemic. It's hard to get through seeing someone with their literally like kill someone just by their knee. Like if you can't take care of the temple, it's going to be hard to kind of manage through everything else. So my 2-week detox, being able to pray more, be led by my faith. Just the simple things like this detox. I'm drinking more water. Like these are the things I'm doing to take care of me. I've written more cards than a little bit. Sit down and write a card. Do you know how many of my friends have said, I got a card from you, or I got a letter from you? That makes me feel good when someone else feels good. So do what you need to do to take care of you. So again, my 5 tips to get you through any difficult time. This is the child-free living alone version, because all I have is me and my Lenny baby, my Lenny boy who's over there farting. Y'all, it smells up in here. But tip number 1, acknowledge your feelings. Tip number 2, talk about it. Tip number 3, get support. Please, if anything, you don't have to go through these difficult times alone. If working from home sucks, talk about it with someone. Talk about it with someone who's going to understand. Tip number 4, I want all of you guys sometime between now and Sunday to get involved in a virtual engagement. I want y'all to find a party. I want y'all to find a spades tournament. I want you to play bingo. I need you to put a fancy Zoom background, virtual background, and engage virtually. Because you know what? I don't think this is going away tomorrow. I don't think this is going away next week. So virtual engagement, and let me pause. Ivy Ryder, don't talk about my nephew. He's farting. Your nephew's over here farting. Let me say this, guys. I know some of y'all are extroverts and y'all ready to be in the world. God bless you. I love all of y'all. I'm a little bit slow to warm. Phase 1, I was actually comfortable in phase 1. We in phase 2, some of us in phase 2.5. Some of y'all are already in phase 3 without even permission from your governor, from your state, right? So what I will say is do what is good for your spirit while also being safe. Safe by all means of the word. Safe as far as wearing your mask and washing your hands. Safe meaning with racial tension and people having their opinions, left wing, right wing. Again, this is not the political space. I'm not here for that. What I am saying is do what works for you. And so those tips, I'm hoping that they will be helpful for you. As I come and wrap up to this close, Ivy Ryder says she's on lockdown. You know you want to be in phase 3, girl, with your extroverted self. Living Golden Zero. Living Golden says, she said, I'm good. Living Golden, me and you, because I'm good too. I'm good. Maybe I could do the parking lot. Like, I know people are getting together in a parking lot and they're like, got their Chick-fil-A and everybody got their windows down. Like, has anybody did that? Just protect your peace and be safe. Pretty Entrepreneur said it best. So maybe I'm still in phase 1.5, leaning towards phase 2. But for all of y'all who's in phase 3, y'all need to reel it back or make sure y'all wearing a mask and washing your hands and carrying your sanitizer with y'all. So I'm hoping those 5 tips help. So before I wrap up, I want to tell you guys how you can continue to interact with me and engage with me. If you're already hearing this live, that means I'm hoping that you're already following me on my IG at No Bibs, Burps, Bottle, a space where we motivate and encourage and inspire child-free African-American women 30 plus. And thank you to my men and my women who are following me. I love you for joining me. You can follow me also if you're interested in my mental health advocacy. There I give some tips and some motivational quotes, and really just, again, taking care of your temple, your mind, body, and spirit. I'm really big on holistic health. If you're interested in that, you can follow me on my IG page at Doc Sirrah. That's DOC_Sirrah, SIRRAH. I shared it yesterday in IG Live 1. Sirrah is Harris spelled backwards. So if you're interested in that, you can join me there. You can also follow me on my Facebook business page. There, I share just similar information. But again, when I'm doing speaking engagements and things like that, I will promote that on my Facebook page. Also, I shared yesterday quickly, I do have a blog. I have a podcast. I'm dropping a new episode tomorrow, a new podcast episode tomorrow. You can find me on anchor.fm/no bibs burps bottles. And I hope that you all listen to the new podcast tomorrow. And for those who don't know, I am writing a book that will come out this year with the same title. If you can see my shirt, No Bibs, No Burps, No Bottles, Melanin Poppin'. All right. So I hope to continue to have your support. Let me tell you before you leave about what's going down tomorrow. Diane Drake's awesome job. Ivy Writer, great job. InfoSword. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Child-free chick. Thank you. Thank you. Tomorrow is going down. It's going down. Do you want to know what tomorrow is? Tomorrow's Wednesday, and it's my third day of my 5-day IG Live challenge. Tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, come back. And at 8 p.m., I'm going to be sharing dating tips, some quick dating tips. I know you said, you just told us you were single, girl. What kind of date? Trust me, I have some good dating tips from a child-free perspective, and I will have a special guest joining me on my IG Live tomorrow. So I'm still trying to figure out all this IG stuff. Hopefully I'll be able to press the right button and my guests come on, but come follow me tomorrow at 8 p.m. and I will talk to you about some quick dating tips, child-free edition, as well as my special guest. Please join me on Thursday at 8 p.m. And then please, Friday, I have some exciting news. Exciting for me. I hope it's exciting for you. But I will give you a sneak peek into what's happening with No Bibs, Burps, Bottles. Thank you guys so much for joining me this evening. How did I do, guys? My second day IG Live. How did I do? I think I did well. Come back tomorrow at 8 o'clock and I'll talk to you and give you some quick dating tips, child-free edition. Until we meet again, which is tomorrow, have a good night. I'll see you hump day tomorrow. Thank you guys. Peace.